Episode 3627, You Are Too Busy for Your Health.
Moms, it's time to rediscover, rejuvenate, and renew who you are in mind, body, and spirit. Welcome to Create Your Now, Your Best Selfie, the show to help you do just that. Here's your host, certified life coach, personal trainer, and nutritionist, Christiane Wargo.
Happy day. How are you? No, seriously, really, how are you doing? Can you believe we're already into March? And pretty soon we're going to blink and it's going to be mid-March. And mark your calendars because we are springing forward. It is daylight savings time. And that means, you know what? Oh, your health. Oh, wait, you're too busy for your health. For those of you who are brand new to Create Your Now, welcome to this incredible family. I'm so delighted of your presence. If you already had the opportunity, you'll want to head on over to createyournow.com where you can learn more and sign up for the Kisses newsletter. The Keep It Simple strategy, everyday solutions to live, love, and impact. Well, this episode is brought to you by AIM, Inspiring Connection and Community. All right, take a deep breath because you know what? I don't know about you, but I had so many things happening Monday and Tuesday of this week, and now we're midweek, and it's wellness, and it's all about how are you taking care of yourself because your health is your wealth. But you know what? Why does life have to be so challenging? Why is it that we can't prioritize ourselves? Why do we fight more than we love ourselves? So many questions with a simple answer. You're too busy for your health. You know, over the past few months, I've been burning the candle at not just 2 ends, but like 20 ends. I kid you not. This mama and grandmama, well, I have always been on the move lately. I mean, who doesn't prioritize their family, right? But in reality, if all you do is keep pushing yourself deeper and deeper down on the ground, there's little resolve for your comeback. You know, if you haven't heard, I was diagnosed with double pneumonia just at the start of the new year, hence why I went silent for a few months. Actually, it was a couple months. Between handling things with the family and all that it brings with 5 children and 2 grandbabies, I didn't have time to slow down. I just kept going and going and going. And it was probably in the month of October of 2024 that I noticed I had a cough. And quite frankly, now we don't know this for sure, but I do believe that I probably had walking pneumonia at the time. And then I didn't catch myself because, I was getting better. And it wasn't that I felt sick. I wasn't running a fever. I would cough every once in a while, but I really just attributed that to, I had food that just doesn't, work well with my stomach or my body, which is true. I have a lot of food that I just can't tolerate. And so I just kind of checked it up to that. And I was like, oh yeah, whatever, it's fine. But deep down, I knew I was overworking my body. I wasn't eating right. I was traveling more than I was sleeping. How could my mind and body function properly if I wasn't giving it what it needed? Such nonsense. But that's a lot of our realities, isn't it? We have so much going on that we don't really care for ourselves. We wait until the breakdown and then, we have no choice. We're forced to choose wisely. That is your kiss to keep it simple strategy. Choose wisely. My friend, you are the only one who can care for your mind and body. If you don't do it, no one else will. Now, yes, if you end up in the hospital, you may have doctors and nurses that care for you, but when you leave, it's all up to you. I mean, seriously, let's be real. Because I know you. We have a lot in common. We care deeply. We love ferociously. I mean, we do. We're all over it. Like, we're going to put everybody else before ourselves. But at some point, you have to say, a candle really can only be burned at one end, not even 2, and definitely not 20. And that's what happened to me. I ran myself into the ground. I came off of the holidays from going from Halloween, which, by the way, just sidebar, I don't consider Halloween a holiday. Okay. But it's kind of wraps up in the story, so I will include it in the conversation. Halloween, Thanksgiving, then you've got Christmas into New Year. Well, between Christmas and New Year, we went to Kansas to surprise my mom and also surprise my sister and niece who we flew in from Hawaii. And we were going to have this big family connection, which we did. Plus, my aunt and uncle were having their 50th wedding celebration too on the day that they were married. and the day and the date. So it's kind of cool that doesn't always happen, but on their 50th year, for them, it did. So we were there for that. But that night when I came home to the hotel, the next day I woke up and I more than hit a brick wall. I think I was run over by like 3 Mack trucks. I was done. All I could do was get up enough energy to go to the bathroom and go back to bed. And that's all I did all day. I sent the kids and everybody to family. I said, you guys go be with each other. But I laid in bed. I ate nothing. I made sure, however, I stayed hydrated. Okay. Now understand, right now, I don't know what's going on except I'm literally exhausted. And so for that period of time, just that day for 24 hours, I was like, you know what? We're supposed to leave the next day. So I'll just rest and let's see what happens. And I've got enough drivers in the family. I mean, the grandkids don't count, so they can't drive, but everybody else can. So if I can't drive, somebody else can't. Now, honestly, I knew I'd be able to drive, but I was also being reasonable. So I just rested and stayed hydrated. And I was like, this is how it's going to be. Now, understand, I don't know that I was running a fever. I was traveling. I was staying hydrated, and there was no vomiting, just FYI. Okay. Not that you're keeping track of this, but I want you to understand the full story. And so we got home, came home to the South. And of course, the weather's been a little bit crazy this winter, right? We've had warm days, not just because we live in the South, but all over. And then we hit freezing, plummeting temperatures and ice. I mean, we've had 7 to 10 inches of snow this year. Ridiculous. At total for the season. I mean, we might get 2 or 3 inches total, but it's usually light dustings here and there that would add up to that. And we've had ice and freezing temps like below 10 degrees for multiple days. And that it's not good for anything. Well, long story short, this cough was not going away. And that started from what I can remember. It was sometime in October. And I still to this day, I'm like, oh, well, why? And there were no other symptoms. And that's why it made sense when I did have the cough. I was like, okay, I attribute it to what I was eating, that it wasn't settling right. And after about probably 8 or 9 days of being back, I just wasn't getting better. And my kids and my hubby was like, hun, you need to go to the doctor. So I tried to get an appointment. They were booked fine. I went to the urgent care. They were closed the time that I went, but then I went the next day, even though I'd made an appointment for like 3 or 4 days into the following week. Now, understand, this is the new year now, so we're into a solid week into January. I finally went to the doctor, and they listened to me, and they're like, yeah, you've got pneumonia. We're almost 1,000% sure. But we want to take a chest x-ray. So we went, got the chest x-ray, came back, and they called me on the phone and said, we've already called in your scripts. You've got 3 things. You need to take all of it. This is how we're going to treat you. You have double pneumonia, bilateral pneumonia. I'm like, oh, okay. And they're like, yeah, so you got to take all of this. And then we want you to come back so we know we got all of it. We don't want anything left behind because sometimes it takes more. And I said, okay, I promise you I will take everything. I kid you not, I have not felt this type of fatigue in my entire lifetime. I mean, I've had 5 babies. I nursed all of them. I was nursing or pregnant for 10 years straight. Exhaustion was my middle name. I ran on energy and exhaustion, the double E's of my life, E squared. But at the same time, I also knew that I had not ever been like this before. And it took me and put me on my back, on the couch, like I was not going to do anything. And there was no way I could communicate every day here on the podcast with you all. I had no energy. So I had to choose wisely. Was I going to show up and be that family member that got worse and worse and prolonged everything? Or was I just going to take a step back and say, you know what, Christine, you got to take care of yourself for once. You can't be here for everybody if you don't take care of you. So let me ask you this question. How much are you worth to your family? That's not a question we really sit around and think about. But I think into this new year, we're into March of 2025. I'm still calling it 2024. So if I say that, just know I'm in the right year, but it just hasn't settled in my mind. But we're in 2025. And a lot is happening for all of us, right? And sometimes we are too busy for our health. We've got to go, 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 do. But let me ask you, how much are you worth to your family? Because what if at one point you got so sick or you did something because you weren't taking care of yourself that you were no longer around, or they had to take care of you? Now I want you to consider how much you are worth to your purpose here on earth. I would love to ask you, like, how much are you worth to yourself? But that kind of sounds strange. So think about your purpose. Why God put you here on earth. How much are you worth to that? I think a lot of us aren't finished yet. And we've got to be wise, right? With age comes wisdom, we hope. And we've got to look at our health. What are we putting in our bodies? Are we drinking this weird syrup called soda just because we want caffeine? There's other ways to get caffeine. Better choices, better options. Choose wisely. Now, most of the time, we're quick to dismiss the value, right, and the worth we add to our family and the world that we touch. My friend, you were created on purpose for a purpose. It's no accident that you're here. You didn't just like, poof, here you are. Now you got to go do something. But you can't do what you were created to do if you don't take care of you. It's a pretty simple concept. However, we have a hard time remembering that. We just keep going and going and going. So where are you in your healthy goals? From the beginning of the year, what did you set out? Did you say you wanted to lose weight, want to drink more water? You want to take better supplements? You want to look for supplements that work for you? I know for me, my body is so sensitive that I'm really having to be mindful and disciplined. More so the second word, not the first word. I'm very mindful, but man, that discipline sometimes it gets you. Why? Because I love food. How about you? Right? I mean, it's so tasty. It can be, and it doesn't have to be like the processed stuff. It can be just the natural stuff. And even some of that natural goodness, my body can't handle a lot of. Like literally, I need to eat like a bird because that's just how my body works best. But I don't like it. I don't have a full factor. My body freaks out with certain things. Hence why months ago I thought, oh gosh, it's just what I'm eating. It's no big deal for me to be hacking up something because, it just, whatever I had, the spices, and a lot of it's the spices and sauces. If there's anything in there that's really not truly all natural, meaning it's like comes from the ground type of a thing, my body doesn't respond well to it, which makes it very difficult to go out and eat. Now, if I cook, it's not a big deal at all because I know exactly what I'm putting in. But to go anywhere and to enjoy something, no, it's not. And remember, I had been burning the candle at not 2 ends, but 20 ends. So let me ask you again, where are you in your healthy goals? Well, obviously for me, guess what? Yep, I got the rug pulled out from underneath me. 3 Mack trucks hit me. I hit a few brick walls in between, bounced off those, and that didn't knock me out. I hit another brick wall. I actually hit an ice wall, but we'll leave that for another episode. Whatever you do, my friend, you need to choose wisely. So I want to ask you 3 questions. And I want you to think about these honestly. Remember, no one's around you. This is all within you. But if you don't get real with yourself, how are you going to make changes? If you don't get real with yourself, how are you going to live better? How are you going to live well? The whole idea is to live well so you can serve well. Live well so you can love more. But a lot of times we don't see it that way. We eat out of convenience. We don't drink, or we drink out of obsession maybe. Right? Pick your battle. But I really would hope you would pick life. So number 1, what does your mind and body need now during this season? Wherever you are right now, what is it? I can't say my season has changed much than a few months ago, but there are a few things that are now put into position, and I'm not traveling as much. I am traveling about almost every other week. But it's something that I can control. And I think, I don't want to say it too loud, but I think our forced renovations here in our home are coming to an end. So that's going to help my stress level. It's going to help my sleeping patterns because, if I stay up late, which sometimes that's just how I work well, then what happens is if I don't get that sleep because I have to get up early for something else because I'm committed to something else, it throws it off. And quite frankly, it's hard for me to go to bed like at 7 o'clock, even though it probably would be good for me to go to bed like at 8:30, 9 o'clock. But in reality, yeah, that's just not how I'm wired. Now, I don't use as an excuse. I just make that as a statement. So look at this question honestly. What does your mind and body need now during this season? What is it? Do you need to give yourself, more grace and say, okay, well, I can't commit to anything else. Then if somebody asks you for something, you already know the answer is no, unless you're going to give something up to help that. So don't take on anymore if you can't. There's nothing wrong with that. You can't be everybody's hero because pretty soon you're going to be, 6 feet under, and that's not a good thing. So be honest with what does your mind and body need. And notice it's not just about your body. It's about your mind too. Sometimes we need to clear the clutter in our life to give our minds time to rest because we may not be exhausted physically, but mentally we could be. We could be emotionally spent. And if you're in a season where there's just so much going on in your head and you've got emotions running crazy all over the place, it's like your emotions are on a roller coaster. You don't know if you're coming or going. You don't know if you're angry or mad, or you're not necessarily that, but the people you're dealing with is all that. You've got to look at yourself and take care of you, right? So what do you need now? Number 2, what permission do you need to give yourself? Don't give yourself an excuse. Give yourself permission. There's a difference in how you approach. And that approach means everything. When you make an excuse and you're like, I just can't because, or that's not going to work for me now. I'm just doing all of this. No, that's an excuse. What permission do you need to give yourself? Where do you need to take a chance on who you are becoming? Maybe you're starting a business. Maybe you're writing a book. Right now I'm in the middle of writing a book. It's crazy. It's going to be coming out. More information to come on that, but we've got it at the end of 2025 into 2026. We'll be doing book launch. Stay tuned. It's going to be awesome. It's going to, it's going to be very telling. And I'm going to need your help to share the book, to share the story that's in it of what I've been talking about from the very beginning here on the podcast and even on the TV show. But at some point you have to say, this is the season I'm in, and I'm giving myself permission to sleep in on Saturday mornings or actually have a day of rest. Now, that doesn't mean you may not be working, but maybe that working looks different. Maybe you're not doing heavy reading, or if you're going back to school, you're not studying on a certain day, but maybe you're doing dishes. Okay, there's nothing wrong with doing dishes, especially if that's relaxing. For some people, it is. For some people, doing the laundry is relaxing. I don't see how, but we'll leave that between the laundry lovers and all. But that's not me, right? So what permission do you need to give yourself so you can take what? Number 3, what is that next step? Where do you need to show up today for your health to make it your wealth? We don't look at it that way, do we? Do you need to clear out the pantry? Do you need to clear out a cabinet that's just for you? Maybe you need to go in and start with just taking everything out of your pantry, everything that's expired, and throw it away. When's trash day? Do it the day before. Get rid of it. Clear out your freezer. I've been doing that. It was before Christmas. It was between, I think, Thanksgiving and Christmas. For whatever reason, I got on this kick of let's clean the freezers. And I went through, and it's amazing what you can find in your freezers. But when you have a large family, I buy things on sale, etc. But I did find a few packets that are like, oh my goodness, I do not know how old this is. And I'm like, I don't even know what it is. I can read it on the label, but when I look at it, I'm like, yeah, it does not look like what's on the label. So in the trash it goes, which of course, then you think, oh, but you're throwing away money. Yeah, but if it's not good for you to eat, why would you feel guilty throwing it away? You've already spent the money. See, give yourself permission to not have that guilt and get rid of it. You see how we live in this? This is our real life umbrella here. You can't move forward if you don't allow yourself to. Give yourself that permission. What does your mind and body need? What's that next step? Maybe you need to literally clean out the fridge, not just of leftovers, but like wipe it clean. Get your vinegar out. A little bit of vinegar, a little bit of dishwashing detergent, and a little bit of hydrogen peroxide. And honestly, you can just do vinegar. But if you really want to scrub it down, take everything out, mix that up, and it's going to be clean, disinfectant, disinfectant. Oh my goodness. You know what I'm trying to say. See, already, mind, right? Clear the clutter. Yes. You need to disinfect it. And you can do that by using your vinegar. It's not going to hurt anything. It's going to clean it. There's going to be no extra smell of, whoa, too much. Okay, it's great. What is it for you? What do you need? And I think when you begin to ask those honest questions and you say, you know what? This is what I really need to do right now, what's right in front of me. And maybe it's doing this. Okay, let me throw this out there, okay? Because a lot of people, they think they're doing it, but they're not. How are you on your water intake? We haven't talked about this in a while. And I mention it because I have been traveling a ton. Now, here's my secret when I travel. I buy bottled water. I have it with me. I buy the smaller sizes, the 24 ounces. I think they're 24 ounces or 20 ounces, whatever they are. That kind of medium size, not the huge liter ones. And I put them in the back. I buy like a thing of 40, from the big box store. I throw it in the back of my car and I drive everywhere with it. If I'm going out of town, I take it to the hotel with me. I load it on my little cart and I roll it into the hotel and I take it up to my room. Why? Because I can measure how much water I'm drinking. And can I just tell you this? When I was sick, the one thing that saved me, I kid you not, was because I stayed hydrated. It gave my body enough energy to fight until I figured out that, wait, you really are sick. Something is here. Maybe you need to go to the doctor. Maybe you need to see what they're saying. And maybe you need to get on some medicine, which I'm not one who does a lot of medication. I just don't. If I need it, I will. But I don't just go and say, I've got a headache. I'm just going to, have that. If you do, that's fine. There's no judgment here. I'm just saying for me personally, praise the Lord, I'm very healthy. But when I get sick, I am knocked off my feet. And this one was my once in a blue moon. I'm probably good for another 10, 15, 20 years. So that's great. But when I look at that hydration meant everything to my body. So let me tell you this. If you do nothing else, and if the only thing you hear from this episode is hydration, drink more water. Your skin will look better. Your cells will be hydrated. You'll have more energy and you didn't change anything, but added more water. That's it. And it's easy to keep track of at first. I know I'm all about saving the earth too, but just start by taking your bottled water. Take a Sharpie, okay, and just write numbers on it. So if you're one who doesn't drink a lot of water, then start out with just 2 bottles. Like seriously, 2 of those bottles. Write 1 and 2. And throughout I would give yourself 8 hours to drink 2 bottles. The reason why I say that is you don't want to be drinking right before you go to bed, because if you do, guess what happens? You're going to be up all night. And then what does that do? It interrupts your sleep. See here, not a great cycle to be in. Can you tell I speak from quite the experience? Yes, I do, because I'm one who will get up multiple times, especially if I'm up late and I'm drinking water, because I don't drink much of anything else. But if I'm drinking that water at 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, and I'm drinking 40 to 48 ounces, you better believe I'm waking up in the middle of the night. Now, I have a great bladder. I really do. But if I'm just kind of training my body to get back into that, yeah, it wakes me up. But for the most part, I'm pretty good. So start with 2 bottles. But if you're already doing great with 2 bottles, maybe you do 4 bottles. But number them. And know that between when you wake up, whatever time that is, to when you are done eating dinner, actually before you're done eating dinner, you will want to have drank all of that water, okay? That's the period of time. Now, that doesn't mean you can't drink things after or before, but give yourself a timeline to get all of that water in, and anything else is bonus. And then you can add another water bottle in a few days, or for some, you need to wait a week or so. Get used to having 2 bottles a day for a week, and then add another bottle, then add another bottle. And yes, it seems like, gosh, it's going to take me forever to get up to my 8 or 9, whatever you need. Because honestly, if you are active, you need to be aiming for about 80 ounces or so of water. Like, seriously. Like, if you could drink a solid half gallon to a gallon of water a day, oh my goodness, you don't need anything else. Okay? If you are working out hard, strenuously, then you can go above that 1 gallon intake. But man, if you could get a liter or 2 in, more power to you, for sure. So what is it for you, right? What does your mind and body need right now during this season? What permission do you need to give yourself? And what's the next step? What do you need right now? Because one step at a time leads to miles of greatness. Now, I know you're thinking, this is a lot, Christiane. Yeah, it is. It's called real life. And that's the problem. We're all too busy about doing everything else, but we really don't get down to the nitty gritty of life. And you know me here at Create Your Now, we're going to get down to the nitty gritty. What does it look like with the dinner dishes and dogs? What does it really feel like when all you've done is you've run everywhere and literally you've taken only 4 ounces of water in? Oh, but you got your favorite coffee stop. You got that in, and you grabbed your little soda drink or whatever extra, but you've only had 4 to 6 ounces of water. Yeah, that's not doing your body any good. It's called a reality check. I don't want you to end up like me. I'm not saying you're going to get double pneumonia. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I don't want you to be run over by 3 Mack trucks and hit by a brick wall or 2 and then bounced off of another 1 or 2. And then you're like, okay, I'm done. We don't have time for that, right? So you got to take care of yourself. You've got to be intentional, and you've got to wake up knowing that we're going to do this together by choosing wisely. What do you choose today? Go in peace. Be present. Be incredible. Be you. I love you so very much. I cannot wait to see you on the other side. Blessings, hugs, and lots of love. We'll talk to you real soon. Have a glorious, blessed day. Oh, and stay healthy. Bye-bye.
Feeling inspired, ready to train for life and love your journey? Visit createyournow.com for more incredible resources to help you along the way. We'll see you next time on Create Your Now, Your Best Selfie. And remember, always be sure you consult your physician before beginning any health and fitness plan.